Okay, I'm going to try my best to recreate where this wiring was for you guys so you know where to move it. Right now, currently, there is no wires in the front of this vehicle, none in that fender, and none in that fender. Now this entire harness right here, the entire thing, don't get depressed about all this. That is, I will talk about that later. Completely easy. But all this ran under there, underneath the radiator, up this, to the headlights, to the ABS, into this fender, and plugged into this. And of course this ran off it, but I just cut it so that I could hook a battery to it and drain all the power steering fluid. I'm sorry, windshield washer fluid. I don't know why I keep calling it that. Also, your airbags, front airbag sensor in your horn is just a simple plug. If you just want to unplug that for a stock derby, you can. And this will be going back in just in case anybody's wondering. So, this fender had a huge wiring harness in it. Fuse box is right here. It bolted right in this area. And this wire ran down here to these headlights, and then it went down to all the other stuff. This big hunk right here went through this square hole, came out here, looped on zip ties the whole way across up to this hole up here, where it had a big rubber bulb on it. This thing was punched in there, and then it came out the side of the inside of the car to the computer, which is on the driver's side underneath the dash. So I can't even get in here. I think I'm gonna need my light. Okay. Alright, so right up there is about where the hole is. See if I can get my finger. Right above my finger is about where the hole is that all came through. And it was hooked in right here. This white one, this whitish or gray one, this yellow one, and this yellow one right here. Okay? Now none of them will fit in another hole, so you can unplug them all. And then also, you can see the harness forks right here. Goes up here to the fuse block, the internal fuse block. And you have to unplug this plug here and this black plug. Now you can take off this metal tray if you're talking about a couple bolts. I have very small hands, so I was able to get both of these off. They're pretty long. Try not to bend them around when you're getting them out. But they're pretty long, but they do get out without taking this metal cover off. So that is 7 plugs you have to unplug. I think there might be one zip tie holding the harness in here. And then I literally just shoved my hand up with the harness in it to the hole. And I would get out and I would pull on the harness from the other side gently. And I'd have to crawl back in and resituate all the plugs as they get hung up on stuff. The best case scenario would probably be a significant other or brother or friend. Probably just keep a little pressure on that harness while you move the plugs around, or whoever's got smaller hands. You might have to have them push it in an inch or so to move the plugs around. But you can get this harness out through that hole, undo I think 4 zip ties, push it through the hole into the engine block. And once you undo that whole front harness, you have enough room to move your fuse block up here between the strut tire and the brakes, And then you can run that harness you just pulled out of this fender through your windshield, back down, and hook it all up. Now this, of course, will be zip tied up out of the way to make sure I don't catch it with my feet or my hands. Now, if you want to run your alternator, something else that comes into play here. If you're not running an alternator, just undo the 2 wires going to it, and you should be fine. But if you do want to run an alternator, so you get this whole harness out and laid out, and you'll have this plastic stuff from here all the way to here, and that's going to fork, and that's where your alternator wires come out. Now all I did is I took off the tape and the plastic clear up to about here. It's about where the first plug is. And then I just separated the main alternator wire and the 2 relay wires to it. They're red, there's a red wire and it's a blue with an orange stripe wire. So the easiest way to figure it out is right here. This plug is just orange, blue and orange with a red wire on it, and it's got the big wire underneath. And I just literally pulled it out and I put these on it, and it gets zip tied up around the header. It's zip tied over here, looped around, and I have an alternator. I really don't know if I'm running it. I'm pretty sure I am, because I don't know how long 2-Man Extreme Derby will go. Last time I checked, there was 10 cars registered for it, but we shall see. As of now, this radiator is sitting here so I can still move it around, because I do not want to heat this engine up whatsoever. I want it to be able to handle a lot of heat in the Derby, so I don't want to dock any of its life off. In your starter wire, right here, it runs from your battery cable down around, and it runs back to your starter, which is in the back of the engine. You're going to want to go ahead and loop your transmission lines, which are right on top. These little hose clamps, they're probably one of the easiest ones ever to loop. I would reuse one of the hoses, and then once you got the hoses off, go ahead and loop it up and around on top of the transmission. And I would just zip tie it back out of the way. Make sure it's at least behind this electronical plug. Because if this plug comes undone, pretty much your computer isn't going to know what gear it's in, and it's not going to start anyway. So after that point, you're going to be running on your hot wire, which I will show how to do that again as well. I showed how to do it on my Subaru. You just simply, which I believe it's actually this little wire right here, which is 1 wire piece that goes to the starter. So that is pretty much the gist of the wiring. Something else, you have, I believe, 3 grounds. Here's a bunch of grounds. Here's a ground. I believe they're for the headlights, but I will go ahead and ground them anyway, just so nothing shorts out. And I think there's another one of these further up the harness I'll try to find, and I will ground it as well. So there you go, guys. That's pretty much all your wiring. If you want to run no wiring in the front, and that will pretty much keep all wiring from taking you out. And then you have this rear harness that runs on both sides of the car, which is pretty much typical for any kind of compact car I've ever seen or worked on. It has this wiring harness that runs on both sides of the car, that runs to the speakers and the gas tank and the brake lights, all that fun stuff. I keep this in for 100% for sure until I have my tank in and I'm running off of Derby tank and not stock tank. You can hot wire your gas tank, but why hassle with it? Because all I do is I gather all the wires up, ball it all up, zip tie it, and stick it underneath, either underneath my seat or right behind my seat. That's what we've done for all our cars. We have built 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so this will only be the 6th one, but all our cars we've stuck the wires behind them. So there you go, guys. This is the second car I've taken the harness out of the fender and looped it through the window and put it in. I'm very happy with it. And it actually saved my Subaru. You guys can't really tell, but this fender is smashed in. And I had a thick wire harness, probably that thick around, that ran through that fender. And I'm pretty sure, oh yeah, this is the hole it went through is right behind this. So I'm pretty sure it got smashed. Something else that helped this fender a little bit was it was creased. It didn't completely smash flat to the body of the car. It had this crease on here. So I firmly believe that helped it. It doesn't help it that much structurally. Like, I feel like a crease on a compact does not help it structurally, but I do think it affects how it bends, and it keeps all the metal together. That's just my opinion. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. But yeah, guys, enough of me rambling on and on. Well, here you go. You can see the harness. Runs in. I just spray foamed it wherever it touched. I actually cut a hole in the dash and just shoved it down in because I didn't have enough wire harness to go around the dash. I just cut a hole and dropped it down in. But anyway, I have a whole video on that if you guys are interested in looking at that. Just go to the channel and scan through till you find it. Thank you guys for watching the videos. I really appreciate it, and I will catch you guys next time.